Welcome everyone to Politically High Tech. The random deck just keeps on shelving some interesting outcomes. This one here, it's non-religious really, which I love. I talk about my Christianity sometimes when I think it's relevant, important. I try not to verbally beat you to death with it, because talk is cheap, right? So we're gonna have someone here who is a mastery. The mastery, I think, is not being talked or being discussed enough, but I'm sure it's growing. And, she's not just an energy. Yes, it's a she. Women are growing. Yes, I'm actually happy about that. I was worried about my podcast becoming a constant sausage fest, which I was actually getting slightly annoyed. I said, how am I going to do to get more women? But I'm getting more women. Yes, slowly but surely, more women are coming. And, I wanted some balance. I'm slowly achieving that, even though I need more minority representation. I am a minority myself. But that I'm slowly working there. I'm working my magic. I want as much perspectives as possible. I won't just say, oh, let's exclude this person because you look a certain way, or exclude this woman because she just sounds kind of weird. No, 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 no. Podcast out for that. Unless you're an establishment, have the same boring talking points. If you're too normal, I'm happy to cut you off. That's only discrimination like against norm. Against normie mainstream talking points. That's the only discrimination I got. Other than that, I don't really discriminate. If you're interesting, of course, I will have you on. So let me stop with the rambling. I have Gabrielle Pimstone. I always keep thinking Primstone for some. I keep adding the R. I don't know what's going on with my energy, but it's Pimstone. Pimstone. Okay. Yep. So it's kind of like pin, but with an M instead. M as in Mary, not N as in Nancy. Okay. There you go. We got our audio clarity checked. Yep, we got that. So I'm gonna have her just introduce herself. Go right ahead. What do you want the listeners and viewers to know about you?
Oh, I don't know where to start because I'm old. I've been on this planet for 5 decades. Um, I thank you for the opportunity, by the way, Elias. It's really great to be here. I am dialing in from down under. I live in Sydney, Australia, and I have had somewhat of a normal life, boring, normal, but there's an element of it that is pretty out there, and I'm here to talk about that because what I worked in an organizational psychology career for 27 years. That's the boring, normal part, corporate life. But then I listened to a podcast in 2020, and that shifted the course of my life completely, which is why I love coming onto podcasts. So I am now an energy coach. And I work with people who are facing into life transitions, change, who may be feeling burnt out. And I teach them how to navigate those moments through energy techniques, advanced energy techniques, so that they can move through change really quickly, get to the other side, and they can live with renewed purpose and passion.
Yeah, that we need a channel from the other side more. This world is more than what we could see, taste, hear, smell, the normal five senses. There's spiritual element. Oh, if you call me crazy, I think you're crazy, or you're the regressive, and yet you label yourself as progressives, okay? And I'm not pointing at the guests here, I'm pointing at you, the ignorant one. Yes, I will call you out. But you feel free to condemn me, whatever, through the comments and make yourself feel better. Maybe your energy will be cured, but I'm sure she's going to debunk what I said about that. Maybe the energy get more rattled with their hatred and all of that. So, for starters, I want to make sure they at least have a basic understanding here, especially for the skeptics that I think could be convinced. What is an energy master and a coach? Some people say, "What the heck is that?"
Well, it is. It sounds a bit jargony, doesn't it? So a coach is somebody who does two things: who holds a space for people as they're going through change in their lives, and provides a place for them to explore themselves and to do so in a place that's psychologically safe. So that's the role of a coach. But the energy coach is someone who teaches people how to master their energy. And the way that I've developed my offering is that there are five aspects to mastering your energy. The one is understanding your energy, being able to really tune in and understand, what's your energy levels, but also what are your blocks, what triggers changes in your energy as they occur. So that's the understanding piece. Second part is how to protect your energy. We live in, really some toxic times. The news, I know you're into current affairs and stuff. I also follow it, by the way, but it can be quite destabilizing, as can social media. So we need ways to protect our energy. That's the second part of it. The third part of it is how to clear your energy, because we walk around with invisible energy blocks that act as almost an invisible handbrake that keep us stuck in our lives. So I teach people how to clear energy blocks. That's the third part. Fourth part is how do you maintain your energy at a reasonably high level, because it's constantly dipping. Things trigger us all the time. So how do you make sure that your energy is fairly even keeled and you don't go down a rabbit hole? And then the fifth part of it is how do you optimize your energy, because we've all got innate and dormant gifts and talents, and I teach people how to activate and unleash them. So those are the 5 parts of it.
I will make sure you're getting this, listener. Normally I like to throw a little cynicism, a little joke. Well, that might come up. It depends. I'll make sure it's natural. I'm not going to say just a random thing. So just, oh, God is coming down right now. I'm not going to that's not my style at all. And I won't blame the guests for looking at me crazy and kooky, because it would be crazy and kooky, objectively speaking, unless there's context and relevance. I want to make sure my humor at least touches on some of that. So, you're gonna maintain your internal battery. Okay, there you go, battery.
You've got to know how to recharge it. You've got to know when it's empty or when it's full. You've got to know how to fill it up, how to plug it in and recharge it. And you've got to know what makes it last longer, I guess, what drains it, what doesn't drain it. That's a nice analogy.
Yeah, and what blocks it, because you put the battery the wrong way, boom.
Yeah.
That flow just like that.
Doesn't work. Yeah.
I'm trying to meet you halfway, skeptics. Just use a battery or some other relevant analogy for that. So now let's get to the more actionable part. I think this is where my listeners will get a little excited. You already have your understanding, at least a core understanding of it, your ABCs, if you will, of what this is about. So what tools and tips can a regular person do just to support their energy?
Well, it depends which part of the blueprint you're talking about. I mean, understanding your energy is one, maybe protecting your energy. There are different things that people can do. I might talk about protecting energy because it's very much up at the moment. It's certainly up for me. So there are 2 ways that you can look at this. You can look at it from a psychological perspective. How do you protect your energy psychologically? But also, how do you do that spiritually? So let's start with the easy stuff, which is more the psychological response. And when we talk about protecting our energy, it's around setting boundaries. That's what we're talking about. So there are very simple things that anyone can do to manage your boundaries. The one thing is, to choose your company wisely and to minimize contact with people who drain your energy or who create negativity. You can really make those kinds of choices. Sometimes they're difficult choices, but they're certainly choices that are available to all of us. The other way of protecting your energetic field, more kind of pragmatically, is to actually carve out time to be by yourself, to have solo time in solitude, which is very replenishing. And it's an opportunity for you to reset that battery, as you were talking about. At a more spiritual level, if I can go a little bit woo-woo here, there's a very simple technique that people can do to protect their energy. So, for example, say there's somebody in your life who's bringing you down. You might be in conflict with them, or there might have been a fallout, or they just trigger you in some way. That's the time to put them in what we call a love bubble. And what you can do is you can literally imagine wrapping a color around that person. This is all happening in your mind's eye. And you're wrapping them in a color as if it were a bubble. I like to use the color purple, but any color works as long as it's got a resonance of compassion and love to it. And then what you're going to do, so a person's in this imaginary bubble, and you're going to fill the bubble up with loving energy, and you're going to do that through intention, through imagination. So you can imagine beautiful, loving energy coming through the pores of the bubble, or maybe through the top of the bubble, and just filling it up and wrapping them up in loving energy. And then once this is done in your mind's eye, what you can do is you can send the love bubble to the sky until it disappears from your vision. And what you're doing, it's a really wonderful way of sending negative energy off and away from you in a loving and a very compassionate and peaceful manner. So that's a simple, a little bit more esoteric way of shielding or protecting your energy from others.
Yeah, that's so you're dealing with someone that you can't stand. It could be a co-worker, a family
Yeah.
member, even your spouse, your dog. Oh, I know the pet owners are gonna attack me for that one. You love your dog, but they certain times they do things, and the ones you love can sometimes do things that are very triggering, and very rarely you have a very visceral reaction to it. So take that advice. This is not, the Bible advice. And you go to previous episodes about my biblical verses. I'm not going to regurgitate them here. I'm trying to diversify my content if you haven't figured that out already. All right. So this is the more practical, the Bible does talk about imagination. Imagination is a very powerful tool. Okay. Because deep inside, correct me if I'm wrong, but the subconscious does not necessarily know how to differentiate reality and fantasy. That's why these techniques
Yeah.
really work.
That's right. And it's exactly right. And everything in mastering your energy is done through intention and done through active imagination and visualization, because what's happening is you're focusing your attention on something and you're pulling energy in that direction. And that's how it becomes manifest. And it's difficult for people to understand, but it's everything starts with an idea or a thought. The building you're sitting in was once someone's idea that they made manifest through focus, through intention, and then through action. It's the same with any intention that we set for ourselves.
Yeah, it all starts with a thought. It's
Really does. Yeah.
it's just a matter of thinking about it, coming with clarity, having enough. Well, I'm gonna throw a religious word in here: faith, belief, self-confidence to manifest it into action. Because you're true. Something as simple as a cup, was something imagined. Someone must imagine that thousands of years ago. Oh, how can you hold this liquid? My hands can't hold all this liquid. I'm sure the Stone Age people were getting annoyed and want to find some more convenient just to hold water. So must imagine some container. I know I'm going prehistoric, but you get the point. Look at voila. Now we have so many different cups. Forget it. We will just drive ourselves crazy by listing all types of cups that we have in the world today. Okay. And about time to come up with a basic idea, comes a cup. Okay, we got the functions right. Now we come up with other designs that matches what cultures or how much water they want to hold. It's simple, but you get it. And that's how it really starts. I'm not gonna add anything too cheesy. I think that was already a cheesy historical example enough about the cup, and I'm not gonna drag this on. Someone had a thought of it. These things don't happen by accident. These computers, everything we got here, even our existence doesn't happen by accident. It comes up with thoughts, and then it's eventually executed to action. So that's all I'm going to say about that. All right. I know we already touched on this, but I think I want to dive just a little deeper to the blocked energy. Is blocked energy, what are common signs? Is the person tired when they have blocked energy, or?
They could be, but the most common sign is it's not blocked energy, it's an energy block. There's actually a bit of a difference. An energy block is something that, life happens to us. Things happen to us often in childhood, for example, and we don't resolve them. So the issue may have been traumatic or mildly traumatic, or whatever it is. We ride over it, we don't resolve the issue, and energy from that event remains stuck in us. And if we don't solve it, it compounds over time because we start attracting similar experiences, and the energy block gets deeper and deeper, and it really just it grows. And what happens when we've got energy blocks? The real symptom is that we find ourselves stuck in patterns. So we've got specific patterns of ways of being, dynamics, relationships that keep presenting themselves to us in our lives. And that's a sure sign that you've got an energy block, because the energy block acts as an invisible handbrake. And it's invisible, and it keeps us trapped in these repetitive patterns. So it's less about feeling tired than it is around feeling stuck, Elias. And the stuckness can be around any kind of thing. I mean, talking about fatigue, it could be that we've had an ongoing pattern of insomnia and there's a block or a fear around sleep, dream, and or what all of that represents. Sometimes the block manifests in relationship challenges, like we're constantly falling out with people, or we find it difficult maintaining relationships. Sometimes it's around money, money blocks. Sometimes it's around a tendency to procrastinate, the inability to make decisions, to take action. There's so many expressions of it, but the common denominator is that the person is stuck in a repetitive cycle that they can't get out of.
So it's habitual, in other words.
It's habitual. Yeah.
All right. So you see, it's a good thing you told me the differences, because sometimes I don't pay attention to some differences. Blocked energy, then there's energy block. So energy block is an invisible force, make you do the same thing over and over and over again until you're essentially, until you're really, really burnt out, fatigue, and all that, which I was getting to that. I had a more literal interpretation. So it's a good. See, I'm not an expert. I don't pretend to be an expert. That's why I have different guests on. That's the guest's job, to be the expert of this field. I'm just here to learn and try to simplify some of this to listeners. But what she said is simple enough. I don't think I need to break that down any further. I think that's great. That this is very practical. It's pretty easy. I know it's just like exercise in a sense. It's hard to do at first because you're challenging those habits and getting rid of those energy blocks just to create a new
patterns.
better.
Yeah. And patterns of being in the world. That's what it is, Right. And I tell you why it's so difficult is because once things become habits, they become part of our identity. We believe them to be true of ourselves, even if they aren't helpful. And so a lot of this kind of work is it's really shifting our identity of who we are, how we show up, what we bring to the world. That's what makes it challenging. So it's the identity piece that makes it really difficult.
Oh no, that makes a lot of sense. Once we value it as our identity, we don't want to let it go. No, this will be the tough guy. I don't want to be crying in front of people. What emotion? You crazy? Right. Yeah, that I'm using the tough guy stereotype example, but
exactly
that is let's use another gender stereotype. Woman who
another from a female perspective is that you don't speak up,
right?
And a lot of females have energy blocks relating to communication and finding their voice, and that's another gender stereotype that is at its root. It is a block around taking up your voice.
Absolutely. But in America, that is definitely sure, especially among my generation and younger generations. I don't think they will have a different blocker, but not the energy block. But I don't think it's the vocal one.
In
Uh,
my generation, it is the vocal one. Not
yeah.
with me, actually. I bucked that trend, but a lot of women I know, my friends that I grew up with, are they are holding in so much resentment, so much anger, so much anxiety, and they are very reluctant to speak up and to change their lives because it means disrupting the status quo, and it means disrupting the identity of being the good wife or being the good child, and being softly spoken, and all those stereotypes that come with being a woman in the world when I grew up. Maybe not so much anymore today, which is a great thing.
Oh no, no, absolutely. Yeah, bottling up. Even I learned the hard way. Bottling up emotions. That's more my block energy. I'll say for more men in general because we don't want to show emotion. That's why I bring that up. That's a habit I still say. I mean, to some extent, that's kind of dying down, men, but I don't think it's dying that energy block as quickly as women not being vocal. I could say that much.
Yeah,
Certain
I
men
think.
are try to be the tough, cold guy while there are some that's embracing so much emotion to the point that some people were even freaked out. But
Yeah.
that's the confusing American culture that we currently experience with. What are you gonna say?
Then there's another kind of gender-based block that I see, which is, and it might be more people in my generation, but men who are programmed to feel like they're the provider. They've got to give, and they find it really difficult being in a receptive state, letting the guard down and just receiving help, for example, or asking for help. It's something that I see a lot of with grown men, that so programmed to giving, but there's a block around receiving and being vulnerable.
Oh well, I eventually worked on that one. Oof, at least I clear that energy block. That was very hard for me. I said, no, 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 man, I
Yeah.
don't need it. That's nice. Thank you. I don't need your help now, but I have become more receptive and all because yeah, giving is easy for, or at least for some men, and there's some that are very good at taking. Let's just be quite clear. They take. They can't handle it on either. Right? It could go either at either spectrum. But to your point, you're saying some valuable points. I mean, I was definitely part of that sort of stereotype. I mind helping, but to receive help was a whole nother story. No, thank
Almost.
you. I don't want to look weak, incompetent, all of that. I'm a man. I'm not a boy. I don't need your help. And of course, I'm saying it nicely. Sometimes it was very vulgar. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Our inner talk is often very vulgar. Can I swear? Because the inner voice sounds like you idiot, that's what it sounds like. You'd never dream of saying those things to other people, but what we say to ourselves is so destructive and so outrageous and out there. It's quite incredible. I think I talk a lot about, and I engaged a lot of in this whole concept of our inner voice and really tuning into it. What is the language that we use when we are in a conversation with ourselves? And it's alarming when we actually tune into that. You hear yourself saying all sorts of really derogatory, demeaning things. And by the way, the quality of your self-talk then becomes the quality of how you communicate to other people. Because if you've got for example, a critical self-talk, then you're going to have a tendency to be more critical towards other. If you've got a part of you, I don't know if any other part of your self-talk then becomes translated into the words and how you choose your language when you're speaking to other people. So it's a really important thing for us to get in touch with. And also from an energetic perspective, if we become mindful of our language, the words we're using, that allows us to tune into our internal energetic state, how we feel about ourselves. And it's actually a really useful, practical tool to help people tune in.
And another thing I want to add, because I'm still working on it. I'm a work of progress. Oh man, I just so surprised. Well, I shouldn't say surprised. But maybe when I start paying attention, so I'm shocked about my self talk because we can just block things out because we don't want to deal with them. I'm sure you've encountered that so many times.
Mm.
Procrastination, putting it off, denial, what have you. I've done that myself. Until I did the self talk, man, I'm calling myself names, even cursing at myself. It's like,
Yeah.
my goodness. So where did this
Yeah.
come from? And then, of course, even looking back, I said, oh, I projected this to other people. This is what the spiritual, well, the Bible's not very clear about it, but you have to piece some things together. But even the Bible refers to this. Life and death is of the power of the tongue. So you cursing, condemning yourself, you're of course, well, not embrace it, it's sticking into you like grease or crazy glue, what have you. You can't get it off because it's been so habitual back to that bad cycle of this is like this block energy that we can't, and then of course, I know it's gonna take time. Look, changing habits take time, all right. Don't if you're doing it quickly, trust me, you're gonna fall right back to it. Have a more sustainable or even a slow, but make sure it's a sustainable process because
Yes, I
that's
think
how
that's
you change.
wise.
That's
Yeah.
that's what brings change. Trust me, I try. Look, we in this social media culture, we want everything yesterday. Oh, we want
Yes.
everything. Yeah, we got. Oh, I want to shed 100 pounds in 2 minutes. Well, there's no product for that, and even a surgery will take hours. So that's your best bet, and you better have very good health insurance or a whole lot of money. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
something is not going to tell you how to get to A and B. They probably tell you to spend
Yes.
money
Yes.
if they're
You
going
know,
to.
you're talking about, like, if I think about how we, when we're changing our lives and the human response to change, what you're referring to is the thing we call motivational lapses. Like, you start off really gung ho, like a diet or whatever change it is you're making, and then it loses its luster and you run out of steam midway through before you've actually got to the other side. And I love what you're saying, Elias, about really breaking down what's sustainable for you and putting in place a practice that you're going to be able to slot into your everyday life. And most people are really busy. So, what's doable for you and then sticking with that.
Oh no, absolutely. I'm just speaking strictly from experience. It's not like
Yeah.
I don't know, have a PhD or read 1,000 psychology books or self-help books. I'm just speaking strictly from experience. Because I tried that, and look,
Yes.
the news, social media, look, it is a great fertilization for mental illness. I'm just gonna be very blunt. Some people say that's insensitive, but yes, it is. That's why you gotta put time limits on these things. Is it good to be informed? Yes. Is it good to look at certain social media posts? Well, I'll say 90% of it is junk. If I'm gonna be nice, nice.
It's true.
Mean it's 99%. Very, very rarely get some value out of social media, to be quite honest, unless I don't know, you run a business, I guess. Or communicate a very positive, impactful message actually reaches and actually resonates with at least a couple of 100,000, if better, millions of users. That's the 1% I could say is great value. Other than that, it's garbage. I mean, me, I'm just what's my value using social media, for example? If they're trying to help you improve on something, that's good. Probably like cooking or dressing up. I've been getting into, well, this is not the best example today. I've been looking ways to improve my fashion as a guy.
Mhm.
I already see, they're look, I'm in my mid 30s. Some of them are their late 20s, early 20s, but they know style. And I gotta say so, they are confident. Well, maybe a few of them is arrogant, but that's more up for debate. But that's besides the point. But the point is, I take some of their stuff and I see where they shop, and I'm happy that they put where they shop because I can actually copy and emulate some of their style to some extent. But I also got to take into account this is where some people fail of your traits because your traits ain't not it's not always going to match with the model's traits. I have a wider body, you have a different hairstyle, face shape, what have. what have you, or you have a different style, a bit of a style preference. You want to be more preppy, more street, more classy, what have you. The reason why I'm saying this because this is a better use of your social media, or that's one of the ways. And then of course, cooking as well. I'm not that great of a cook, but I've improved because of social media. These are positive use of social media, people. Not looking at what's the next, I don't know, celebrity affair or
Yes.
royal drama. I don't care. I'll be more vulgar, but I just really don't care. That's not going to benefit me. If anything's going to drive me crazy, how's this helping me or my family or the people I care about? It doesn't. I'm just spreading gossip for them. So
You know, what you're talking about, I just want to link what you're saying, Elias, to the conversation we had earlier around protecting your energy, because limiting information intake is an important strategy for protecting your energy, being mindful of the information that you consume, which is what you're talking about here, especially from news and social media, and setting boundaries on the time you spend on digital devices, but also where you scroll, and that's what you were just talking about now. So it's such an important point, and it makes such a huge impact on our lives.
well, we already answered the other two questions. Signs of someone mastering energy, knowing their problem, the habitual changes, how one could prioritize it. Well, we already give them tips. They just got to find a way to apply it to your own life. And
Yeah.
this is my other advice that I don't hear a lot. Make the solution uniquely applicable to you. The reason why I say that is because everyone runs different. Like, look, Gabrielle, she's in Australia, all right? Sydney, the great city, which I want to visit there one day.
Great.
And it really looks beautiful. I really want to visit there. That's one of my world tour plans. Yeah, that's one of them I want to go. And there'll be other cities, but I don't want to make it about me and traveling. That's not it. That could be that could be a totally different episode. I want to help you with this energy problem because look, we all got a bit of quirks. We are doing great in one area, we're not doing so great in another area. Yep. And make it uniquely applicable to you because some people may need only 30 minutes exercise a day. Some people need more, or some people need to meditate more. Some people need to slow it down. Just like I'm going to quote what she said, have me time, solo time,
Yes. Yes.
recharge. Because you can't, because you are not a 24/7 bot or even an AI that could just, well, I don't even think AI could even run. After a while, even they start getting clunky and crazy. So if a machine can't do it, you definitely
Yeah.
cannot do it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you want to be dependable, know that you're great, but the real people will be there even if you can't help them for one day. And you know what's funny? It might even expose you who are your good people, who is amplifying energy. Feel free to correct me here because it's not go off the tangent. And then those fake people who were secretly leeching your energy, taking it, being slick about it.
Energy vampires. Yes.
No, no, oof, no, that was bad acting. Uh, I'm trying to do a little. I should have got the vampire fangs for that one. You can ignore that, listeners, or that, or create memes. It doesn't matter to me. I have enough self-esteem energy to not worry about that. Yep. And so I think we came with some practical tips and make sure that it fits within your schedule. Don't do drastic changes. Like I said, just do slow, sustainable changes. Even if you relapse, go back to step one. Don't judge
Yeah.
yourself too harsh because I tend to do that at times. Give yourself grace to bounce back, even if you mess up. We all are going to mess up.
Yes.
Err is human.
Yes.
Being
And
erroneous is part of a human being. Yes, go ahead.
you've touched on this, but I'm going to say it in a slightly different way. Prioritize self-care, and that you're right, that looks different for different people. For some of us, it's exercise, yeah? Going to play a game of footy or going to the gym. For some of us, it's meditation, to your point. It's going to look different. My self-care, funnily enough, is learning. Like when I'm feeling really bad about myself, or I'm feeling stuck, or I'm feeling like I've lost control, I listen to a podcast or I read a new article or something because I feel like it's giving me back. Knowledge is my power. And so that's my form of self-care. For others, it's ensuring they get enough sleep, maintaining a healthy diet, all the simple things in life. But self-care is going to look different for different people, but it is an essential part of maintaining your energy. So that doing things that really boost you, simple things.
And now there's a few more ideas just popped up while I was hearing this. If you're a creative person, I don't know, go to ceramic class. I heard it worked out for some people that weren't even innately creative. Maybe just had a hidden talent that didn't have the chance to tap on during their childhood. Or whatever the reason is. It doesn't matter. Try ceramics class or try something new or paint, something that really just relaxes you. Well, I used to suggest video games, but even that
Yeah.
out the proper time management slash limitation, that could revert you back to this. We want you to be in an optimized energy state,
Yeah.
not
And I mean,
not substandard energy level. No, we don't want that.
that's right. That's right. And another thing I was just thinking as you were talking, it was when you talked about video games, it sparked it. Limit multitasking. Focus on one thing at a time, to avoid feeling overwhelmed and to avoid feeling drained. And a lot of us kind of are juggling different things, but when we can focus our energy and attention on one thing at a time, it also does help recharge the battery, or the battery doesn't drain as quickly. Let's put it that way.
Yep. And, she said that last stage, optimize your energy, and I'm going
Yeah.
words, maintain your energy, clarity the energy, protect, of course, understand it, and then what's your blockers or what makes it flow or increase or decrease, what have you. I'm not an energy expert. You listen to the guest on that one. That now I hope you listening to her with your full attention, undivided attention. Don't be cooking, don't be cleaning. Yes, you. Nah, I'm kidding. I really can. If I did, I think it'd be too freaky. And I'm the type that I don't want to know your business unless you make it public, and then that's more on you from there. Dear consumer, that's all I'm gonna say about that. So let's see. Is anything else that we could what any tips we could help them out with?
Well, I think I've given a lot. We've spoken about, just given another one, which is, stop multitasking. Self-care is a really important one. And I'm thinking of men. Um, I think the other tip I would give, and this is for people who don't really have the patience to work on themselves, use your dreams. Your sleep time can be a really strategic way of dealing with stuff, healing, letting go. But it does require of us to pay attention to our dreams and to get into the habit of documenting our dreams when we wake up, so that we can see the patterns over time, what's keeping us up at night. So that would be another tip. I think we all dream. It doesn't take any effort. So just become a little bit more intentional about your sleep time. That would be another piece of advice.
Oh, that's a very sound one. And that even gets into the subconscious stuff. A lot of things we just said is part of the conscious. So I think that's a very phenomenal advice. I think that's a great way to wrap up. I think we covered ABCs and plus a little more. But I think that's great. I really hope you're getting this. Look, if you throw a mean rant comment, I could turn it to a positive and just laugh and treat you like a comedian. You are a comedic troll if you want to be mean. That's how I'm going to treat you. And trust me, I've already been called names for a few of you, so I don't get upset. That's more reflection on you. You need the help at the end of the day. Okay? I wish I could be that graceful and patient. I'm happy you said you actually spoke to me. That I wasn't gonna admit. Patience is not my strong suit, but I am working on the dream part, which that means it's good. My problem could be subsided. Yay. All right. Let me do a shameless plug in before we wrap this up because hey, I'm a capitalist and the guests deserve a shout out for all the work that they're doing, especially those who are doing good work. So check out her website, Gabrielle Pimstone, and this is generativegrowth.com.au. Why? Because she's in Australia. Hello. That's why it's structured like that. Unless she wants to correct me, that's fine. I don't mind being.
Oh, you're right. You're correct.
So, the plane.com. Well, look, she wants to represent her Australian roots. It's her website at the end of the day. That's one of the fights I am happy to avoid. Okay. I got bigger fish to fry. Like attacking my politicians, for example. It's
Oh,
generativegrowth.com.au. So I'm gonna just spell that out for you. That is GENERATIVEGROWTH.com.au. Okay. And she has some free courses, online energy. Yeah, especially the free 20-minute masterclass, pretty generous right
yes.
there. Some people only get
Yes.
25 or 10 minutes. So if you want to
Yes. It's a
start
20
there,
minute.
she does one-on-ones, healing. Sure, he gave some tips, but I'm sure that she could give you even more and especially personalize it to your life. So this podcast episode, at best, it'll be more personalized to me. It'll be a bit more self-serving, but that's why I try to keep it as a bit general. Let me see what social media is you on. So she's on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Okay. So just make sure you go there and check it out. Check the website more though, because that's where you get her awesome, out of this world services. Okay. Anything else you want to add before I wrap this up?
Just a big thank you to you.
No, not a problem. So let me do my routine YouTube Rumbler. I'm taking that term Rumbler. I don't think they have made official name for that. So like, follow, comment, subscribe for YouTube, and follow for Rumble. Okay, share this with your friends or family, or even a stranger who is happy enough to share their digital information. Yes, I'm gonna say that because I am odd like that. Odd opportunities do pop up, so be ready. Just be ready. Okay. So I like to thank my guest here. I knew she was going to be great. That's why it was an easy yes for me to have on the show. Because some people could just sell this kind of crap, and I have rejected those people before. So okay, this sounds like a Reiki con person, and her services are actually deeper than that. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So my final thing, from whenever you're listening to this. Oh no, one more thing. One more thing. Ooh, I'm getting ahead of myself here. What is up with me? My energy is draining. No, not good, not good. All right. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcast, leave a star rating. I want an honest star rating. If it's not a 5, it would be nice for you to give it paragraph why. If it's a 5, the paragraph to give you a little writing, the paragraph portion of the review, that's completely optional. Okay. And if for Spotify, you can't write a review, but you just leave a star rating. Hopefully it's a 5 star. And if not, I completely get it. All right. Now I can say this. So for whenever you're listening to this podcast, you have a blessed day, afternoon, or night.